guys, now we're still looking at scatter plots, just a bunch of points on a graph. And our objective today is to use a trend line. So all of these graphs are going to have some sort of linear trend. And we need to approximate the linear relationship so that we can make predictions. Now, I just want to kind of tell you in advance that these problems can be a little bit frustrating because you've got to look at it really, really closely. And sometimes you look at the answer choices and it almost looks like there's 2 or maybe even 3 that could possibly work. And so just be patient, look very carefully, realize that even I had to kind of look at the key to confirm some of my thoughts because sometimes it's hard to be really sure. So, so take your time, look really closely, and pay attention to those details. So let's start by looking at number 2 together. Zoom out a little bit here so we can see the whole thing. On number 2, it says Stephanie planned to save $150 of her babysitting earnings. The scatter plot below shows the amounts in her savings account in the weeks after she opened the account. So before I even read further, I see that, okay, the amount that she has in her account started out that first week, she had $150. And then over time, each week it got a little bit less and a little bit less. So I can already tell that this is a negative trend. Oops. This is negative because it slopes downward. If she continues to withdraw money as shown in the scatter plot, by week 7, how much money would you predict she will have left in her account? So the first thing we want to do anytime we're having to predict something that's not shown on the graph is to go ahead and draw that into the graph. It's hard to predict if we can't see. So I'm going to extend my x-axis over here. Whoops, my pen's not working. Extend my x-axis. And I'm going to say, okay, it's about that much space, and that's 7 weeks. So that's the first thing I'm doing. Now, I'm looking at my answer choices, and to me, 0 looks like a pretty good choice right now. But, unfortunately, that's not the right answer, so we need to look a little bit closer. This is one of my least favorite things to have to analyze because there's so many ways that you could argue for multiple answers, so we have to be very careful. So I'm seeing that, okay, I see that there's a huge jump. Here I'm going from $25 up to $50. That's a big jump. And then 50 to 75, 75 to 100, up to 125, up to 150. But down here, they're not giving me a lot of space between 0 and $25. And so they drew this graph to be confusing. So I know that about right here, this is probably about, I'd say half of 25. So probably about 13 right here. They should have labeled that 13 and continued it downward to 0. To make it easy to read. But of course they don't want it to be easy to read because they want you to have to look at it closely. So I can already eliminate some answers. I know that she's not going to have $50 in her account because she has $50 around week 5. So we can get rid of this one. Okay, and we already know it's not 0. So I'm seeing that it looks like, okay, here she had a big drop from 50 to 25, maybe a little more than 25. But these other places she had a smaller drop, like $75 down to maybe $60. So this is the only time in the last part of the graph where I see her dropping so much in 1 week. She must have bought something really expensive in week 6. But usually it's a drop of maybe $10 to $15. So for her to get down to $5, that would be a $20 drop. And for her to get down to $15 would be about a $10 drop. So the correct answer on this one is G, $15. And what I'm looking at here is I'm saying, okay, well I know that this is about 13, where it should have been 0, but it's confusing to look at. And around week 7, she's going to be about right there, which is just barely over 13, about $15. 0 would be way down here. So that would be if she had another huge drop. in week 7. So I know that's a little confusing. So let's go ahead and do one more together before I turn you loose. Let's look at number 3. The scatter plot below shows the cost of new homes in a small Texas town over the last 7 years. Based on the scatter plot, what would be a good prediction? Okay, so that means we're just predicting, probably not going to be exact, for the cost of a new home built in 2008 in small town Texas. Well, again, we need to go ahead and extend our graph over to 2008, and I see that to save space they're kind of alternating. So 2008, about this big of a gap, so about right here would be 2008. Now the first thing I can do is say, okay, this is the cost in thousands. So there's no way it's only $180. That would be way, way, way down here. So we can get rid of that one. And I'm going to look at the rest of these. Okay, would 180,000 be legitimate? Yeah, maybe, because it's about 175,000 in 2007. Let's leave that one. 125,000, well, that's way down here. So that would mean that the prices would have to drop in 2008. And I don't think that's going to happen. And then $210,000, that would be way up here. So let's go ahead and extend our graph this way. I'm going by 25, so right here would be about 200,000. And then this would be about 225,000. So 210,000 would be about right here. Okay, so this is about where that spot would be. So it would be 210,000. I'm going to put K for 1,000. And then 180,000 would be just above 175, so about right here. All right, well, which one of those fits better with the graph data? I'm going to go with 180,000, simply because I don't see a huge jump anywhere else in the graph. I see that, like these two, but those were the same year. And these two have kind of a gap, but those were the same year too. So here, I would expect my line to go somewhere about right here. Probably not going to jump up from 175 to 210 in 1 year. So let's look at I just want to look at number 8 really quickly. Again, something got chopped off here. So on number 8, on your x-axis, will you please label that minutes? We need to know what we're dealing with. So minutes, not hours. Keep that in mind when you get to number 8. And the cookies sold. So let's flip over to the back. And now what I'd like for you to do is look at number 4, 5, and 8 on your own. Again, these are predictions. You're going to have to really look at it. It's not going to be one of those things where you can just kind of glance at the graph and choose an answer. So really analyze it the way that we did on numbers 2 and 3. So after you've completed 4, 5, and 8, please bring your paper to me so that I can give you stamps on those questions. And then we will continue. So only 4, 5, and 8 right now. So go ahead and pause the video and complete those by yourself. Okay, welcome back. I'd like to look at number 9 together. On this one, we're making a prediction and then we're having to choose our own answer. So the first thing I want to show you is that on number 9 and number 10, I know it has a spot for a decimal point, but that doesn't mean that you're actually going to have numbers after the decimal point. So both of these will be whole numbers. Please make sure that you also bubble in your positive or your negative sign. So on number 9 it says Jonas made a scatter plot for the number of miles he rode his bicycle yesterday. If he had continued on the bike for 9 hours, so 9 hours, how many miles would he have traveled? So I'm going to look at 9 hours right here, and I'm going to follow that line up to see where it would hit my graph. And I'm going to say, you know what? Right here, that would be a good spot on the line. So I'm going to bubble in 16, so that's positive. Make sure you bubble fully, really neatly, stay inside the lines. We're going to practice with this. 16 goes before the decimal point, so that means that 1 is in my tens place, and then the 6 is in the ones place. So positive 16. And I've had a lot of questions about, well, do you really have to bubble the positive, and do you really have to write it in at the top? Well, I mean, normally we think, okay, if a number is positive, we don't put a positive sign. But I would like for you to be in the habit of always bubbling either the positive or the negative, just so that it's a habit to look at that column. Otherwise, I have a lot of students on unit tests forget to bubble the negative simply because they're not used to looking at that column. So please be in that habit. I know that it may not be normal for us to have to do that, but it's a good habit to be in. So now I'd like for you to go ahead and do number 10 by yourself. It's similar to number 9. Remember that it is going to be a whole number, or you're not going to have a bunch of digits after the decimal point. So be careful on that one. When you're finished, bring it to me so that I can give you your stamp, and then you will be finished with your problem solving for 8.5D. Thank you.